In this section of training, we are going to explore the decoding strategy of Suffix Chop. The goal with this strategy is for our students to be able to read words where the base word has changed due to doubling or e-drop before we have taught the rules. Once students begin working with suffixes, the level of decoding complexity increases significantly. We first teach them the strategy of Suffix Chop. Suffix Chop involves identifying the known suffix and removing it from the base word. Students are then able to accurately decode the base word and add the suffix to unlock the word. This strategy is effective if we control our word lists, eliminating anywhere the base word has changed due to suffix addition rules. This permits us to include words that end in final blends or short vowel pointers, with the exception of DGE. Unfortunately, students as early as first grade, when reading decodable text or controlled text, will encounter base words that have been modified by suffixes. It's important that we give them a strategy to successfully decode these words. The strategy that we'll go over in the next couple of slides is not intended to avoid teaching the doubling and e-drop rules. Instead, it is a strategy to support decoding until students are ready to learn those complex spelling rules. To review, working with consonant suffixes is a reliable way to support the strategy of Suffix Chop. Students recognize the consonant suffix, chop it off from the base word is unchanged, and they can accurately decode the word. When decoding a word that has a vowel suffix, we suggest that students use the following steps for accurate decoding. First, we instruct them to chop off the vowel suffix. Then we ask them to count the number of consonants between the vowel in the base word and the vowel suffix. If they discover that there are 2 or more consonants between the vowels, we know that the vowel in the base word will make its short sound. If they count only 1 consonant between the vowel in the base word and the vowel suffix, we know that the vowel in the base word will say its long name. This will help them accurately pronounce the base word and add the suffix to decode the unknown word. Looking at the example at the bottom of your screen, you'll see how this strategy works. First, we've chopped off the suffix ing in both words. In the top example, we see that there is only 1 consonant between the vowel I in the base word and the vowel suffix ing. Since there is only 1 consonant between them, we know that the vowel in the base word will say its name. That results in the base word being file. When we add our suffix, it becomes filing. In the bottom example, same strategy. We've chopped off the vowel suffix. We have found the vowel in the base word I, and we've counted the consonants between these 2 vowels. Since there are 2 consonants, we know that the vowel will say its short sound, so I. That gives us the base word fill, and our word becomes filling. Teaching this reading strategy to students can be difficult. In your manual, there is a script for helping students read base words that have had a consonant doubled or an E dropped. In this script, you'll see that we have taken 2 words that look very similar that cause students some confusion when they're decoding them without context clues. Just as in the previous slide, with the examples of filing and filling, it's helpful to support students in applying the strategy with 2 words that are nearly identical. Looking at the script, we start off by asking students to make some observations about these 2 words, and noticing that they look almost the same, except for 1 difference. And in our prompting, we want students to be able to articulate what that 1 difference is. The difference is that the top example has 2 P's, and the bottom example has 1. And while that looks like a very minor difference, it's significant enough that it will completely change the meaning and pronunciation of these words. Now, walking through the directions, what remains consistent is applying the strategy of Suffix Chop. That will always be our first step. We're going to ask students to identify the suffix ing. Let's go ahead and chop it off from each of these words. And now we want to find the vowel in the base word. We're going to go ahead and underline that vowel, A, in each base word. Let's walk through how counting the suffixes between these vowels will inform us on how we pronounce each word. In the top example, we see that there are 2 consonants between the 2 vowels. That tells us that the vowel in the base word will say its short sound, ah. That means the base word was tap, so our word is tapping. In the bottom example, we see that there's only 1 consonant between these 2 vowels. When there's only 1 consonant, that tells us that the vowel in the base word will say its name, A. That means the base word was tape, so the word is taping. Again, I haven't made reference to doubling and E-drop because this is a strategy that I might start with younger students, like first graders, way ahead of being ready to teach doubling and E-drop rules. This is simply a quick method to pronounce words in context. For older students that have learned doubling and E-drop, my next step could be following up with them, asking them why are there 2 P's in the top example, because they've learned the doubling rule and they can explain that. Or asking, why is there not an E in the bottom example? And again, they've learned the E-drop rule and they can explain that the E was dropped. So the script is here, and we'll do a brief demonstration of what this looks like for students.
Today I want to work with you on a strategy that will help you to correctly read words that have vowel suffixes. One of the things you need to know that is sometimes vowel suffixes can change the way the base word is spelled. So first thing I want us to do is I want us to look at these 2 words. And I know they have a lot of things in common. But instead what I'm asking you to do is tell me the one difference between these 2 words. And when you spot that difference, give me a thumbs up so that I know that you see it. So what's the difference between these 2 words?
The top one has 2 P's and the bottom has 1.
That's correct, and that makes a big difference when you're reading the word. So let's try a strategy. Do you see a suffix in the top word?
I do.
And that suffix is?
ing.
And then let's chop off the suffix. And what kind of suffix is it?
Oh, it's a vowel suffix.
That's right, because what we're talking about here applies to vowel suffixes. So let's underline the vowel in the base word. And let's count the number of consonants between these 2 vowels.
1, 2.
And you want to write 1 and 2 underneath there?
1, 2.
So if there's 2 consonants, the vowel in the base word is short. And so our base word is?
Tap.
And if we add the suffix back in, our entire word is?
Tapping.
Right, exactly. So looking at the next word, do we see a suffix?
Yes.
And that suffix is?
ing.
And what kind of suffix is it?
It's a vowel suffix.
Right, so let's chop it off. Let's find the vowel in the base word. Count the consonants in between the vowels.
1.
Right.
1 consonant.
So when there's only 1, then we know that the vowel in the base word is long. So it says?
Tape.
And then if we put the suffix back on, the word is?
Taping.
So let's summarize. So first, when we have a vowel suffix, we do what?
We chop off the suffix.
Right. Then we count, then we
Underline the vowel in the base word.
Underline the vowel in the base word, that's right. Then we count
the number of consonants between the vowels.
And if there's 2 consonants, then the vowel in the base word is?
Short.
And if there's 1 consonant, then the vowel in the base word is?
Long.
On the screen, you'll see a word list that has been taken from the MegaWords resource. And the reason we're sharing this word list with you is to illustrate that once students have learned this strategy, it helps them decode words in isolation. We know that context clues should be able to help them identify tapping versus taping in many cases, but to know that they truly understand the strategy, working at the word list level is very important. Also, here's some context if you're using our lesson plans. In our first grade lesson plans, we teach this decoding strategy way before we teach the spelling rules of doubling and E-drop. When we do introduce the strategy, we typically work on just the words that have 2 or more consonants between the vowel in the base word and the vowel suffix, to get students used to identifying, reading, and pronouncing those words. Then we will spend 2 days on the E-drop list, where there's only 1 consonant between the vowels, and again helping students decode those words accurately with a long vowel. On the 5th day, we work on a combined list where they have to work on that flexing and applying both. In 2nd grade and up lessons, the spelling rules for doubling and E-drop are taught early on. This just becomes a supportive tool when they're making errors in their word list reading or in connected text to have them do some quick checking of how many consonants they see, and therefore what would the vowel say and how would they pronounce the overall word. That concludes the basic Suffix Chop section of training.